Well, today we have Tom Hadrava and Joe Conaway of All Angles Real Estate Media. And we're excited to talk about what it looks like running a multi-state real estate media company. Welcome to Bridge Out Ahead. It's where we dig into what's under construction in life, business, and community. I'm your host, Bridger Hopkins, and today we've got two guests on the mic. We've got part of the team behind All Angles Real Estate Media. You've met Tom in a previous episode, and today you're going to get a chance to meet Joe. We're going to be hearing more of the story and see what it looks like to run a multi-state media company. Welcome, guys.
Thanks for having us, Bridger.
Thank you.
So right away, just hoping that you guys can do a quick intro, introduce yourselves a little bit, and we'll start with Joe.
Sure. Yeah. So excited to be here. I am originally from Eveleth, Minnesota. So I've been here my whole life. I recently moved down to the cities. Well, I say recently, but it was 10 years ago now. It's crazy how time flies like that. But I've been friends with Tom since junior high. So we go way back with the history in Minnesota here. I'm a musician, creative individual as well. So I've got a lot of experience kind of working with musicians, creative types, and kind of making media like that. And also had 10 years professional experience in IT as well before I got here. But yeah, it's been a fun journey getting in on this, thanks to Tom. And yeah, excited to, we got a colleague, Renee, who also is a key player with us as well. But yeah, it's exciting adventures for us here.
Yeah, and Tom, little quick intro for you too.
Yeah, started out in IT, been in Minnesota my whole life, and just kind of fell into a side hustle that is real estate media, and it just kind of grew and became a new venture for me, and then I moved to Florida, and that's when I brought in Joe and Renee. So been here my whole life, and now I'm just trying to figure it out in Florida, and it's good. It's a lot of fun. We're growing, and we're discovering all kinds of new stuff in Florida too, my family and everything.
So first, guys, we're going to talk a little bit about the groundwork and sort of the unlikely beginning that you had. Both of you come from an IT background.
Yep.
So neither of you really started or did anything in photography, media per se before, correct?
I had some amateur experience. I made fun movies with my friends and stuff. Nothing ever went viral or anything, but it was always just a fun thing to do in the background. I never really did anything professional with it. But that was my experience. I did have some photography background and videography background, but it was for fun things. I never made any money with that.
Yeah, so it was a totally different turn from taking it as a recreation or something fun you did to making it a business or a job.
Exactly, kind of using that experience and seeing like this is useful for people. I can help people get what they need and also fulfill myself creatively as well while I'm doing this stuff that is more meaningful to me than, I enjoyed a lot of my IT background as well, but there is something more fulfilling with this kind of creative side than helping somebody plug in their computer.
Yeah. And yeah, how about you, Tom?
Yeah, pretty much, outside of being a family photographer, that was about it for me, especially no video. I didn't do hardly any video editing stuff or anything like that. So pretty new for me to go into like a professional world of it and try to make a business out of it. But I guess one thing that's nice about real estate is that, when you're taking a picture of something outside of adjusting like exposure and some lighting and stuff, it's pretty close to the same settings more often than not. Video stuff gets a little bit more complicated though, but yeah, no experience.
Sometimes that's the best way to start is maybe the optimism that you can have by not knowing anything. You're like, I can figure this out. And then diving in.
Very true. A lot of time spent untraining bad habits in some of these things too, where you kind of just charge in headlong.
Yeah.
Whereas you start with a blank slate, you can kind of build things up the right way.
Yeah. Well, Tom, we had a chance to talk in a previous episode about how Tom's virtual tour started and then how that sort of morphed into All Angles. I just wanted to quick cover that again. What, 30 seconds. What was the history of All Angles?
Yeah, so I mean, Tom's Virtual Tours again was the side hustle, and it kind of morphed into All Angles once I hit that stopping point when I was moving to Florida. Either I kind of cut off all my connections and network and all that work I did for almost a year and a half, 2 years, and just start fresh in Florida by myself, or is there somebody that can carry the torch for me on the Iron Range? And then and Joe came into the picture too, as far as interested in doing all the same things, but he's in Minneapolis. He's all Minnesota based, and yeah, Renee was able to jump on board too. So she carried the torch on the Iron Range with all my existing customers and really expanded it beyond something that I even didn't think could happen when we first started it. So,
what did it look like when you guys sat down? Were you were getting ready to leave, and what did it look like for you guys, for Joe and Renee?
Right. Yeah. It was really exciting. I will say that it started off, being exciting, and it's been exciting ever since. When you're young, you think about all these high, falutin ideas that, I'm going to rule the world or, get this big chunk. And then, the years go by, and it's a little challenging to try to do that yourself. And so I was very, lucky that Tom had that experience already, kind of building this. I could see how the thought that he put into it, and really thoughtful, kind of making it a long-term view rather than kind of just shooting by the seat of your pants kind of thing. And so seeing all that, knowing we had a really close connection with Renee, your cousin. I've known Renee as well, not as closely as Tom, but kind of just, it really just made sense. When we got ourselves in a room together and we talked about it, it was just, we can't not do this now. And so it was, again, really, feel blessed to be part of this, and, lucky as well, to grow and kind of use my experience as well to help the company itself, grow as well. I've got a lot that I can bring to the table as well from my previous experience, that, and kind of just be a cohesive team together. And I could see where my part fit in there, and it's felt that way ever since.
Cool. Was it right away that you're like, okay, I'm going to jump in full bore onto this?
It was definitely kind of like, I'm doing a cannonball in here and making a splash. You're sitting there at the edge of the pool, feeling a little nervous, and I absolutely felt that way. But once I kind of took the dive there, it's, a lot of those anxieties kind of go away a little bit. You kind of feel that confidence from your teammates, and kind of trusting yourself too, knowing that you can do it, and I'm sure everybody in the whole world feels the same way, that you are oftentimes your biggest critic. And so kind of understanding that, putting it in a place that's useful, but not letting it stop you, not letting it be that kind of roadblock in your way, and kind of figuring out the path around it and forward.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a great way to put it too. Tom, what as you're forming this, you were just working by yourself before, and then all of a sudden, okay, now there's 3 of us, and I'm moving away. What were some of these first rough patches that you ran into with that?
yeah, I think the scariest thing for me is that, I know who I am. I'm customer service focused, client number one. I don't care if I don't make any money for months, so trying to hope that you're bringing on somebody that has that same mindset, because that's not easy to work for free. I mean, that's a big thing that we do, is when we work with brand new customers, we'll do a job for free. We'll drive an hour and a half out, and we don't make a dime on it, and we're eating that. And even us personally, we're not paying ourselves anything from the company, because we're cash starved, because we're expanding in 3 different areas. That's a really tough thing for somebody to be willing to take on, especially when you got family and you got bills and that kind of thing. So that was a big worry, was how long could we sustain that until we grew to a point where we could start taking on the salary of distribution, and also knowing that Renee and Joe are had that same representative mindset of customer service first. We're going to eat money. We're going to eat costs to grow our business, to meet people, to network, represent as an owner, not just a worker. It's a different mindset. You think about the whole business completely different. It was stressful, but obviously with Renee, she carried on with my existing customer base at both Tom's Virtual Tours. Did a phenomenal job. She built it up. She met new people, you included. She really did an amazing job. Really customer service oriented. And she also didn't have any media experience, and she jumped right in and she was able to get it dialed in. And I could argue too, she could take better pictures than me sometimes.
Well, and going from just yourself trying to figure something out, now all of a sudden you have three people pulling together in the same direction. How often are you guys, utilizing each other if you have something come up with what you're working on?
It's pretty often. Yeah. I mean, I think Joe and Renee more so because they're on the Minnesota side. But yeah, I mean, we're talking every day. We have weekly meetings just like you would in any business. We have a couple consultants we meet with on a regular basis. We also have a team of various contractors that we work with that we meet with regularly to make sure that the things that we're doing are causing them headaches, and we meet with them to give them feedback on things that are giving us a headache. So it's very structured, and you really got to keep it that way to be on the same page, especially when we're in 3 different locations. It's very easy for, I think, a business to fall apart if you aren't communicating and really being transparent with one another. And then at the same time, we butt heads too, just like anybody else. And being able to get past those is a very important thing for us.
Yeah.
Conflict isn't easy, but being able just to work through it everybody has it. So.
Yep. And kind of understanding that, if there is a pain point, understand what all the inputs are and come up with a cohesive strategy to lessen that for all of us together. And so that's where those weekly meetings, whether we've got something important to talk about, there will be something substantive to talk about.
Mm-hmm. And you had mentioned, you're having a lot of growth and stuff too. Are you experiencing growing pains with that? How do you guys work through those instances when maybe one of you guys is getting so busy, the market might be different in Florida versus Minnesota, or even north versus the southern central part of the state? How do you guys handle those times?
Absolutely. So yeah, it kind of has worked out in our favor, where in January, February, March, Tom was absolutely swamped, back to back, doing 4 or 5 shoots a day, even on the weekends. And so in those situations, that's where it was a little slower for Renee and I. So we would help out with kind of the back end stuff. We can't obviously go there to take pictures. I mean, maybe someday we'll start getting tickets to Florida to help out. But basically trying to understand, we don't want to mess up Tom's flow, but we don't want him to struggle either. So kind of just there's this understanding too when you're working with a small group of people that if you're asking for help, it doesn't mean that you're a burden. We want to help, and it's going to make everybody feel better if we're all cohesive and we kind of know what's going on, what your schedule is tomorrow, and how we can fit into that and take that stress off of you. And so that's another part where those weekly meetings really come into play. We can kind of get ahead of those things and make kind of a punch list for ourselves for the week, and kind of you can trust Tom, you can trust Renee, you can trust me to do our thing, and if there's something going on, we'll let you know about it, kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
The nature of our job too is that, how it is as a realtor, is that every week is different. Like we might be completely slammed for 2 weeks, and then that third week we have nothing going on, and it's like that Friday comes around, it's like, next week I guess I'm doing office type stuff or whatever, or I'm gonna go on vacation or whatever, and then by Monday you're booked solid for the entire week. Mm-hmm. It's like everyone hits you on Sunday and like, I need this job done. So you just gotta be able to adapt quickly, and you can't get stressed out about it. We're trying harder to keep our hours within family hours. We're trying to do that as business owners for like that work-life balance, but it's so hard. We all have a problem with saying no to people. So, but it's a lot of fun. But, a lot of that comes through in QC and delivery. Like Joe said, being on-site doing the photos is one part of it. I'd say that's even like less than the whole entirety of delivering the photos. Between the edits, upload them, quality control, small little object removals, and little things that come up, little notes from the job itself that need to transfer on the final delivery. All that stuff is so much work, and it takes hours to do, especially when you're talking 5 jobs from the previous day.
Yeah.
And that's where we can really help each other out, because when you have like 4 or 5 jobs one day and then you have it the next day and you still need to deliver the stuff the day before, it's a lot.
Yeah, no kidding.
It's easy to lose track too.
Because what would you say, of typical photo shoot is an hour or two? What's it take on the behind the scenes to actually get those photos out to people, or virtual tours, or?
Yeah, I mean, it can be, and we have it down to a pretty good science, but usually photos will turn around within, I mean, internally, we can turn around pretty quick. If it's the only job, we could probably knock it out in a few hours if we really had to in a rush. The problem is that we can't do that on a regular basis, because our next day we're doing photo shoots, or we have family time at night. By the time we get home and we upload all of our media, you have to have good. I have good internet in Florida. Joe and Renee don't have good internet. I can upload my stuff in an hour, thankfully, and I'm good to go. Joe and Renee, they might have 3-4 hours of upload time after 5 o'clock after the last shoot. So they can't even really get into the guts of editing things and QCing things until everything's uploaded and start working around it. So, yeah, it's a lot. So to beat our 24-hour turnaround, we work pretty hard to make that happen. We really stand strong by that. But that being said, photos we could turn around a few hours. Virtual tours can take. That's just more of a rendering thing. It takes 12 hours for those to usually turn around regardless. There's not much we do after we're on site with virtual tours. Videos is a lot. That's why we have a 2-3 day turnaround on videos, because you have to go through all the video, you have to QC it all, you have to make sure what's good, what's bad. You have to edit it. The editing takes forever on videos, as I'm sure you're well aware now at this point with doing the podcast. So yeah, I mean, there's a lot of moving pieces.
Yeah. Well, so being able to load level, if you will, because it's great to go get the business. That's the part that everyone else sees, is you're out flying a drone, taking pictures, but then all the behind the scenes, that really stacks up.
And really the goal is we want to make sure that for the people we're helping, they don't have to know anything. They know that at the next day, they're going to get an email from us that has everything that they need.
So see, here's the pictures.
Exactly. Yep.
What would you guys say sets you apart from a lot of your other competition?
Well, I would say, our 24-hour promise is a big thing for us, but really it's our willingness to kind of go above and beyond. I want, when I'm working with my clients, with my realtors and things like that, I don't want them to have to worry about me. There are so many things that you guys have to do to get these houses ready. I want you to know that I've got you back. And if there's something that I missed, I'm going to bend over backwards to get that for you, because it's important for you, it's important for the sellers, and it's a big deal. This is a big part of people's lives, They're moving to a new place, that sometimes uprooting their whole life to do this, It can be very stressful for everybody. And so making sure that I'm part of the solution is really our core philosophy of the company. And we pride ourselves on that, really.
Yeah, and it can be really fulfilling to do that.
Exactly.
Like, hey, I'm really helping out and showcasing people's house. And it might be the last glance that they have of this home where they've lived for 40 years, or, really showing it in its best light for people.
Exactly. So that also feels really fulfilling too. When they're in a tough spot, or, those emotions are running high, and, we're sensitive to that. We don't want to, add fuel to the fire or anything. And so, being on site and kind of having a tender touch with everything, and kind of making sure that we're warm and personable, and making them feel like, they're part of this too, and they've got these lovely memories that our photos can help kind of make permanent for them too. So it's kind of like a dual thing where there's a lot of, specific purpose for us taking these photos, but also the long lastingness of them for memories and things like that too. I really love that, because how often do you ever see your property from a drone,
Yeah.
And it's just a magical thing.
You get the whole perspective of the place where you've lived or where you're going to be living.
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, building relationships with our clients is everything. Every time they sell a house, it's like a little feather in our cap. Like, hey man, they sold that one in 2 days after post. Obviously, there's a lot of work that goes behind that, not just photos, but just a small little sparkle of dust that maybe it was helped by our photos. So we want to see our clients succeed. Anytime they sell a house, that's a good reflection on maybe we helped out in that process, and that feels good. Working with realtors too on just their marketing in general. Like there's a couple that I've helped out in Florida where, trying to teach them how to do a walkthrough video. Like you see those videos that realtors do with their cell phone, and they're so cringy. Like you see the bob, it's not clean. It's just this ultra terrible angle of like they don't have the lens settings quite right. And we can help out with that. If somebody has one of those $100 gimbals, like we're happy to talk to somebody about how they do that and how they can make that video look good. Like we're not trying to say we have some secret sauce that nobody can replicate or do. We know that anybody can do a lot of what we do. We're proud of the processes that we have in place to make sure that we have the quality and the customer service that goes behind it. And we're happy to go in and represent a realtor or a commercial owner or whatever it might be in the best light possible. And at the same time, we're happy to teach. Like if somebody wants to do their own video, have at it. You want me to come over and show you how to do it? Yeah, let's do it. Because we want, chances are they'll use this for their photos then. And there might be that one property that they want to bust out the big gun to have a really sweet video. We can help with that. So we don't try to hide anything from anybody. We're very transparent and just kind of making sure that we have the best marketing solution for whoever it is that we're working with.
And making it easy for them, because if it's easier for you to go do all that and they can do what they do better,
absolutely,
that's an easy no-brainer sort of business decision for their business.
Yeah, absolutely. So
everything with media, real estate, there's a lot of changes taking place in the market, and just in general, you see different things with podcasts, YouTube, shorts, reels, pictures, AI. All that kind of stuff is going on across almost every industry now. How are you guys seeing that impacting you, and what's coming up next? Where do you guys see your company going? Where's all angles headed next?
Do you want to take AI?
You go ahead, buddy.
Thanks. No, yeah, it's actually it's a good thing and a bad thing. And by a good thing, I think it means that for us is that it makes us so much more effective and efficient. And being in an IT background, we're able to really leverage things like ChatGPT and the various other photo AI type things that are coming out. Like things like clicking and removing things. It's not like it once was.
Right.
You used to pay a really high end photographer to do that kind of stuff, or an editor, and now it's as simple as highlight it and click it out. And I don't hide that from people. I just say, yeah, if I can move with AI, we won't charge you anything. If it's something that's going to take more, like you're trying to get something behind a framed screen door and you're trying to get a chair out of there, that ain't going to happen. Easily. We're going to have to really work at that for a couple hours. So there's things like that. You can leverage it. Like we use AI to do our marketing budgets in our different territories. Things you wouldn't think of. Employee handbooks, for, trying to figure out company policies. It's great for stuff like that. Stuff that you would have to hire out or spend many, many hours on. We can just knock it out in half an hour. Really, really easy stuff. Kind of the scary stuff of AI for us as a real estate media company. They're coming up with different ways, like something that we just launched now, but you can do photos to video and make some pretty sweet real estate videos off of just the photos. And this is just the beginning. It just came out and it looks pretty good. So much to the point that we're getting ahead of it. We're trying to offer it as a very budget-friendly photo to video alternative to what we regularly do. But it's just a matter of time until that stuff becomes so mainstream where, I hate to even say it, but I think what will happen eventually is a realtor will be able to take their phone, do a walkthrough video, and I think it'll spit out perfectly beautiful images that are rendered with a video, a floor plan, and probably do it all for a couple $100. And so that's a future that definitely it isn't good for our bread and butter for what we're doing today, but it just means that we have to focus more on things like videography, rendering. That's a new thing that we're just getting ready to do right now. Is we can take a freshly new constructed house that's in studs and concrete and like really not even built yet, and we can throw a beautiful render on that now. So that's something that we're working on coming out here probably the next month or so. It ain't cheap, but you're basically 3D modeling a house, and then you can you have to have a floor plan so that you can make a beautiful render out of a newly construction house. That's a big thing in Florida that happens is people will have new construction houses, and they'll sell them halfway through. And then the beauty of that is if you're a buyer, you can have them finish the customs and the finishings exactly the way they want them. So that was something we kind of fell into. We're doing time-lapse videos for our roofing company. So we got all kinds of fun things that we can do outside of those things that AI would take away from us. So we're not too worried about it. And we're a part of a lot of consultant-type groups that are on the leading edge of this stuff in the United States. And we're all well aware of the new stuff coming out and but where are other areas we can help out. Like I said, we're almost at the point where we're becoming a media, like a mini marketing agency to some extent. And that might be our future long term, that we're more of a consultant type that can do the media stuff, but we're also helping people optimize their businesses in that way too. So,
as somebody who's using your guys' service, it's cool to have all these different things. And I know I can go on and I can find that some sort of AI thing that I can go upload pictures to. And then there's another one that I can take videos and it'll put it together. But it can get to be overwhelming. And even being just like, I don't want to deal with that. I can go from like, oh, there's so much opportunity to like, oh, I'm overwhelmed. I can't handle this anymore. And so, that's something where you guys probably still are going to, as the marketplace shifts, your position might change a little bit, but being the hub for whatever it ends up looking like.
Yep, we can kind of sift through things. We're kind of working with all the different options and finding the best one. And, the thing about AI, it's extremely helpful for a lot of kind of bulk things that take a lot of time for you. But if you're not putting in the right information for it, you're not going to get anything worthwhile on the other end. And so all that prep work, all that time and research that we put into it, it pays off on the back end too. So there is a lot of worry in my mind, especially about AI. But in the same breath, they've got a long ways to go.
Yeah. And it just ends up being another tool because
exactly.
You almost have to integrate it into everything you're doing. It's a new base level. And Tom, you mentioned before how Florida, kind of the bottom threshold for any sort of media they're doing is higher than what you're finding in Minnesota. People are thrilled with a floor plan or a virtual tour is kind of like, oh, wow, that's amazing. I've never seen that before. Whereas Florida, that's kind of base level. You're doing some video, you're doing, a more in-depth package, and that might end up more likely than not, it's going to be the same thing. All of a sudden, it's going to be that bar's raised, and that's the new base level. And then what else is there going to be?
Yep, there's always going to be something newer coming out and something. So like, videos are huge in Florida. Well, now the trend in Florida, video isn't enough. Realtors need to be on camera, and to be able to facilitate that in a way that doesn't make someone feel awkward and weird, and that's a gentle touch. I mean, it's
directing and producing.
Yeah, right. And that's a big thing that we ask is, do you need us to come up with a script for you, or you want to come up with your own script? And then, a lot of times they'll say, oh no, we'll do it. And then they come up with a thing where they're talking for 5 minutes. So it's like, video can't be 5 minutes long. So we have to.
You've got 30 seconds, maybe.
Yeah. Oh, even that's almost too much. So, I think there's a lot of value in being able to direct the videos and help guide people through that process. And it's nerve rattling, like being on camera. Like, I don't want to be the realtor, but every time they're worried about how they look, and they're worried about how they talk. And it's like, dude, we're going to edit it. It's going to sound so great. We're going to get the right angle that gets the best version of you. and we're gonna have your branding on it. If you don't like it, cut it out. You
Yep.
know, that's it. No big deal. But if you, anytime we can get a realtor on camera, we always try to. So I think that's where everything's moving towards.
Mm-hmm.
So
Well, where's All Angles headed next? You know, you're in 2 states right now and 3 locations. Are you guys looking to expand beyond that? Or are you guys, what's in the future?
Right. Yeah, I think, we're kind of growing our team. We did hire someone in the northern Minnesota region to kind of help out with our growing number of clients and trying to help out with the weekends and things like that. And so that's been great as well. Same kind of situation in my region, the metro area. I'm driving 2 hours to eastern Minnesota, 2 hours western Minnesota. I'll eventually need some help with that myself too. So kind of just methodically growing. We don't want to do too much at once and risk leaving somebody in the lurch for things like that. And so I'm extremely detail oriented. I want to make sure things are buttoned up before we do too much, because I've been in companies that have grown too fast, and it's a huge stress on everybody.
Mm-hmm.
And so just trying to kind of think methodically. With our weekly meetings, we're always thinking about next year and thinking about what's the plan for the next busy season, because while you're working right now, you need to take note about everything that people are requesting for you and kind of thinking about how can I make this better for next year, for myself, for the team, for my clients, and keep things fresh. Like Tom's talking about all the new things in Florida that haven't quite made it up here yet. But that trend is happening. It's happened already, and it's going to keep happening.
Mm-hmm.
And so just kind of trying to stay ahead of the game with that.
yeah, where I see us, and I know we talk about it all the time, is I think we'll have an army of photographers this time next year. I think we'll have probably a team of, if I were to guess, 4 to 5 photographers underneath us. Probably 1 for sure in my area, one or 2 in Joe's area, and for sure 2, if not 3, in Renee's area. And I see us probably doubling our volume next year. So what's really important back to those processes is making sure that our quality doesn't change at all once we start bringing on these photographers, because and make sure we have a training regiment in place, that we have the right equipment in place, that everything is just super concrete, solid, that they know what they're doing when they come in to do a job.
Mm-hmm.
We're not over scheduling people, getting greedy with how many jobs we can do in a day. We're thinking about every little detail when it comes to that, but definitely the first hire was like the first step, and now that process is in place, and so we're ready just to go nuts here now. So now it's just about getting clients, getting more and more clients. So I'm pretty sure Florida will be double what it was this year, and I think it's going to probably be the same thing for Joe and Renee.
Yeah, but right now I've got my eyes on Wisconsin too. So.
Oh yeah, 3 states.
Yeah, maybe you want to move to Arizona too. I don't know.
Right,
That might be an
yeah.
option.
Winters in Arizona, summers in
bad.
Minnesota.
Not too bad.
Yeah, I don't think we're limiting ourselves. We're gonna see how far we can take it and see how big we can get it. But we're pretty fired up about it. We're pretty excited.
That's exciting. You've got a lot going on. It'll be fun to touch base in a year from now and see where things are at.
For
Absolutely,
sure.
Yeah.
Well, we're getting to the end here, and I just wanted to wrap up here with our toolbox takeaway. We'll just do a quick lightning round with this. One tool, quote, or mindset that has really helps you guys do your best work. Tom, how will you start?
All right. Yeah, I know I did the Dale Carnegie quote last time. So maybe I'll skip on that part. But as far as a tool, I think, leveraging AI and really diving into it right now, it's a buzzword, but it is truly incredible, the stuff you can do with it. And it's not things like, what color looks better. Like, keep the simple stuff out of it. Like, what can I make with the ingredients in my fridge? Like, there's just goofy things like that you can do, but you can literally have it make a business plan for you. If you tell it enough stuff about your business, your goals, what your objectives are, your current situation, it can spit out a future. You can say, look, I want to quadruple my business in 3 years. Here's all my facts. Here's all my revenue. Here's my current situation. How do I get there? And it will give you a pretty dang good business plan on how to get there. Like I said, we used it to do a marketing budget for us, and it said exactly, spend your money, this much money on Facebook, put this much into business cards, put this much into, wraps or whatever on your vehicle, and you'll get X amount of impressions, and this will equate out to 10% more customers, and based on your average order value and your total value per customer per year, you can expect this much more revenue. I mean, if you're a business mindset, it can really it can take you to the next level, something you could never do by yourself before. So I think that's an untapped thing that can really, really grow somebody that's a solo operator, and really get to that next level.
Yeah, I'd say for me, the mindset that I try to bring every day is prepare for the worst, plan for the best. So kind of a bad news, good news kind of situation where I want to always have a seamless situation for someone if I'm on site, but also I have a backup process if something goes sideways that I didn't think of. And so I have that mentality with every aspect of my professional work so it helps keep me calm. I know that whether or not it's raining or hailing or whatever, I'm still going to get great media. If my car breaks down on the side of the road, I know I've got 2 colleagues that are wonderful and can help out with that. And so that is really what helps me succeed, is kind of that kind of planning, forethought, detail-oriented things, and knowing that I've got a plan for every situation.
Yep. Starting with the end in mind and knowing you might have to pivot.
Exactly.
But knowing what to do and how to handle that situation. Well, cool, guys. I really appreciate you stopping by.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah.
Covered a lot. It sounds like you have a lot of exciting stuff going on, but another great story of where you were not heading down this road. You weren't going in that direction, and then you took the chance and made the leap, and doesn't sound like you guys are looking back at all.
That's right.
No, all in on it, that's for sure.
Well, again, we wish you guys the best in this next year of growth, and we'll be in touch.
Sounds good.
Thanks, Bridger.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
This episode of Bridge Out Ahead is brought to you by Legacy Bridge Real Estate, brokered by Grand Properties. At Legacy Bridge, we believe real estate is one of the most powerful ways to build wealth, and more importantly, to build your legacy. Whether you're buying your first home or selling a property or looking to invest, our trusted team is here to walk with you every step of the way. Legacy Bridge Real Estate, where legacies begin. Today's theme music is We're Making Good Time by Jed LaPlante. Thanks for joining us today. No matter the detours you encounter, the road ahead is still yours to build. I'm Bridger Hopkins, and this is Bridge Out Ahead.